Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss the last topic of blood physiology, that is coagulation pathways and coagulation defects. So firstly, to begin with, we'll know about clotting and the different clotting factors present. Definition: it is a process by which blood changes from liquid to a gel, forming a blood clot to prevent blood loss from a damaged vessel. Okay, so if we look, this is a blood vessel, and in this there is a endothelial injury present. So, if we read this flow chart, we can see that there is an endothelial injury which will lead to a transient vasoconstriction. There will be a transient vasoconstriction which will further lead to increased velocity. So, increased velocity will give rise to turbulence. Okay. So this turbulence will further lead to accumulation of platelets or platelet aggregation adhesion, which further leads to shape change in the platelets, that is from circular to some spiky nature, which further leads to platelet aggregation, and then there is formation of a stable clot. So if we come to see this thing, platelet adhesion, then the shape change, and then the platelet aggregation, this is overall known as primary plug. Okay, so the primary plug is made up of platelets. Okay, and then the stable clot which is formed, it is known as secondary plug. Okay, so this is clear. Then we come up to the Virchow's triad. What is a Virchow's triad? It has three components. Firstly, it has endothelial injury. Secondly, we have hypercoagulability. Thirdly, we have abnormal blood. Okay, these are the three components of the Virchow's triad. Fine. So, what is a Virchow's triad? Virchow's triad actually tells us about stasis of blood. Okay. Okay. After this, we come to the different clotting factors. Clotting factors. So, there are total 13 clotting factors. Now, it is difficult to remember all these factors. You can learn them with a mnemonic, but I don't prefer mnemonic, so I'll firstly tell you normally, then you can see the mnemonic. So the normal names are: first one is fibrinogen, second is prothrombin, third is thromboplastin, fourth is calcium, fifth is proaxillerin or labile factor. We call it labile factor also. Sixth one is unknown. Seventh is the stable factor. Eighth is the anti-hemophilic factor A. Ninth is the Christmas factor. 10th is the Stewart factor. 11th one is plasma thromboplastin antecedent, also known as PTA. Then the 12th one is Hageman factor, and the 12th one is Hageman factor, and 13th one is fibrin stabilizing factor. Okay. So now if we see the mnemonic, it says fit pants, tight collar, loose American shirts are cool, says pretty heroine Farah. Okay, so F fit is F fibrinogen, then P pants is prothrombin, then tight collars is thromboplastin, then calcium. Loose shirts, loose I guess it's labile, then American is not there. Then we see this shirt. Shirt is stable factor, R anti-hemophilic factor A, cool is Christmas factor, Stewart is says, pretty is plasma PTA, heroine is Hageman, and Farah is fibrin stabilizing factor. Okay, so this is the mnemonic, if you can remember by this. Okay, so moving forward, we'll see the mechanism of blood coagulation. Okay, so in the process of blood coagulation, there are three essential steps. Firstly, there is, in response to rupture of vessel, a complex cascade of reactions occurs. Okay, so what happens? Prothrombin activator is formed. This is important. Prothrombin activator is formed. What does this activator does? It converts prothrombin to thrombin. Okay, this is the second step. The conversion is the second step. Then we come up to the third step. It is thrombin. The thrombin which is formed, it actually converts fibrinogen into fibrin. Okay, and what exactly does fibrin do? Which further forms a clot. Okay, what is a clot? Blood cells plus the platelets and plasma. These, as we can see in this diagram, these all together form the clot. Okay, after the formation of clot, what happens is clot retraction. What is clot retraction? Within few minutes of clot formation, the clot contracts. Contracts means the fluid is expressed from the clot, which is called as serum. So someone can ask you what is the difference between serum and plasma. So the only difference is that serum doesn't clot. Why? Because there is absence of the clotting factors in it. Okay, fine. So till now we have seen clotting factors. We've seen the Virchow's triad. Then we have seen the mechanism of blood coagulation according to Guyton. Then now we come to our main topic. This topic is really very important. It is the coagulation pathways. Okay. So in the coagulation pathways, we'll see there are two types of pathways. Firstly, it is intrinsic. Secondly, it is extrinsic pathway. Okay. So intrinsic pathway. Firstly, we'll talk about the intrinsic pathway. So what we need to learn firstly is what is written here. It contains these four factors in it: 12, 11, 9 and 8. These four factors are involved in the intrinsic pathway. So what actually happens is it begins with factor 12. So the conversion of factor 12 into factor 12A occurs with the help of a compound which is high molecular weight kininogen. Okay, we can also write it as HMWK. Okay, so HMWK converts factor 12 into factor 12A. This is in the body, but if we want to do this process in the lab, we can use kaolin. Kaolin is also a compound which can be used for the conversion of factor 12 into factor 12A. Okay, now this factor 12A formed converts factor 11 into factor 11A. Okay, now this factor 11 further converts factor 9 into factor 9A, and then factor 9A with the help of factor 8A converts factor 10 into factor 10A. Okay, so before going downwards, we'll firstly once again we'll see the intrinsic pathway. Four factors which were involved are 12, 11, 9 and 8. Firstly, 12 converted to 12A by HMWK. Then 12A converts 11 to 11A. Okay. Then 11A converts 9 to 9A. Then 9A with the help of 8A converts 10 into 10A. Okay. Now this is the intrinsic one. Extrinsic is very chota. It involves only factor 7, which is actually converted into 7A with the help of tissue factor. Okay, tissue factor 3. Now, if the same thing is needed in the lab, it is thromboplastin. Okay, this is really simple. It involves only factor 7 and factor 3. Here they were 12, 11, 9, 8. If you write like this, you'll remember it. You'll remember properly what all is needed where. Okay, so what does this 7 does? 7A does two things. It firstly uh, activates, we can say, or it helps in the conversion of this only 10 into 10A, but it also helps in the activation of two more factors which were part of the intrinsic pathway, that is 11A and 9A. Okay, so now in this conversion one more thing is also needed, calcium or phospholipid. So now this phospholipid which is needed, where does it come from? We know that phospholipids are present in the membrane, and which membrane are we referring to here? It is the membrane of the platelet. Okay, okay, so now we have done the intrinsic pathway, we have done the extrinsic pathway. Now the niche wala will move to the common wala pathway. Okay, so the first step in the common pathway is factor 10, which is converted to factor 10A. Okay, then after that there's this important factor, factor 5A. Factor 5A, what does it do? Factor 5A converts factor 10A into factor 10A along with 5A converts factor 2 into 2A. Okay, now this 2A, what does it do? Factor, सबसे पहले तो what is factor 2? Factor 2 अभी we studied. Factor 2 is prothrombin, which is converted to 2A, which is thrombin, which is the active form. Okay, then factor 2A converts 1 into 1A. What is 1? 1 is fibrinogen. And what is 1A? It is fibrin. Okay, so now there is this important thing that fibrin is the inactive form. Okay, inactive form which is converted to a stable clot. Okay, it is converted to a stable clot in the presence of a factor known as factor 13A. Okay, so इस factor को, because it's stabilizing the clot, it is known as clot stabilizing factor. Okay, factor 13A is known as clot stabilizing factor. Okay, so here we just saw that 2A converted factor 1 to 1A, and it also does one more thing, that is it activates factor 13 to 13A. Okay, these two things are important. Okay, now our stable clot is formed. Okay, and this stable clot, as we heard earlier, is also known as secondary plug. Okay, now the secondary plug, in the presence of plasmin, it breaks. So this is this whole process ऊपर वाला was the formation. Now we are seeing कि वो टूटता कैसे, how is it broken? Okay, so a secondary clot or stable clot is broken in the presence of plasmin. Plasmin is needed. What actually is plasmin? Plasmin comes from the liver. Firstly, plasminogen is released, which in the presence of TPA. What is TPA? Tissue plasminogen activator. It is converted to plasmin, which actually breaks the clot. Okay. Now this टूटा हुआ form, it is known as FDP or D dimer. What is FDP? Fibrin degradation product. Okay. So this much is done. Okay, and this is clot stabilizing factor. What does it actually do? This actually acts cross links between the 1A fibers. These are 1A. What was 1A? It was fibrin, which was inactive. But then if there is cross linking present in between, now it is stable. It is together, right? So it is stabilized. It is a stable clot now. This occurs by कौन सा factor 13A. Okay. So how do we remember ये? How do we exactly remember? The common वाला pathway. So common pathway we can learn by rule of half. How? Factor 10, 5, 2 and 1. This way. So what we saw? Factor 10 in the presence of factor 5 converts 2 into 2a, and then that converts it into 1 into 1a. Okay. So 10, 5, 2 and 1. This is the order in which they are coming. 10, then 5a, then 2, 2 to 2a, then 1 to 1a. Okay. Okay, so we are done with the coagulation pathways. Okay. Secondly, we come to the coagulation defects. This is a really important question. So, what do you mean by coagulation defects? These can be any one out of these three. It can be due to any of these three. What are the three? It can be due to vitamin K deficiency, hemophilia, thrombocytopenia. Okay, one by one we'll discuss them. First of all, it's vitamin K deficiency. So, severe bleeding tendencies can occur due to insufficiency of. So, what is exactly vitamin K? Vitamin K acts as a cofactor to add gamma carboxyl group to glutamic acid residues of coagulation factors. So, vitamin K is really very important for these coagulation factors: prothrombin, factor 7, 9, 10, and protein C. For the proper functioning, for the proper action of these coagulation factors, vitamin K plays a very important role as a cofactor. Okay, we study cofactors in biochemistry. So it adds gamma carboxyl group to the glutamic acid residue of coagulation factors. Okay. So this was the concept of vitamin K deficiency. If vitamin K will be deficient, these factors won't be able to work. So there will be severe bleeding tendencies. There will be profuse bleeding from organs or any part of the body which is injured. Okay. Then we come up to hemophilia. Okay. So hemophilia is a very common common thing. We've heard of it in 11th and 12th also. So we know it is mainly male affected and X-linked disorder. So just because it is X-linked disorder, it affects males more than females. Why? Because males have a single X chromosome, and if it is affected, then it will lead to hemophilia, right? But in female, for hemophilia to happen, both the X should be affected. If a single X is affected, then the female is not a hemophilic, she is a hemophilic carrier. Okay, and when she gives birth to a male child who is also a carrier, who can come up as a hemophilic child. Okay, so this is the concept of hemophilia. Okay, so there are three kinds of hemophilias: hemophilia A, B, and C. Hemophilia A, B, C. Hemophilia A, this is the main type. 85% of the hemophilias are due to factor 8 deficiency. Hemophilia B is due to factor 9 deficiency, and factor 11 deficiency leads to hemophilia C. Okay. So now we'll see what exactly is there in factor 8 which actually leads to hemophilia, right? So in factor 8 there are two components, one large fragment or large component and a smaller component. Okay, so if there is loss of the larger component, this will lead to von Willebrand disease. Okay, von Willebrand disease. Whereas if there is loss of the smaller component, which is important in the intrinsic pathway, this will lead to classical hemophilia. This is important for us. So what actually leads to hemophilia in factor 8? It is the smaller component. This is very important to remember. Okay. So now the final topic which we'll study is anticoagulants. So at your level, two anticoagulants are really very important: heparin and coumarins. Okay. What is heparin? Heparin increases blood clotting time from 6 minutes to 30 minutes or more. Action lasts about 1.5 to 4 hours. Okay. So what actually is heparin? It increases the clotting time, right? You need to remember this clotting time. So you'll see आगे चल के that heparin is filled in syringes when we take ABGs and everything. So that, and the vials also contain heparin or anticoagulants, so that blood which is present for blood tests doesn't clot, right? Clot ना हो वो, इसलिए this is done, okay, to increase their life, right? So heparinase is an enzyme which actually destroys heparin. Okay. Secondly, what we have is coumarins. What comes under coumarins? You would have heard of this name. It's warfarin. So, what actually is the work of warfarin? What is the mechanism of action, I should say? Mechanism of action of warfarin is it inhibits VKORC1. What is VKORC1? Vitamin K epoxide reductase complex. Okay. So, if this is inhibited, this will lead to decreased available active form of vitamin K in the tissue. Okay, and ऊपर we just studied कि if vitamin K is deficient in the tissues, what we did study, these 5 factors would definitely be deficient, they won't work. So this will definitely lead to some bleeding tendencies. Okay, so that's why vitamin K is very important, and vitamin K is actually inhibited by warfarin. Okay, so we can simply say vitamin K inhibitor होता है warfarin. Okay, now the last topic is bleeding time and clotting time. Okay. Okay, bleeding time is 2 to 8 minutes. Now the definition is asked in the exams. This is important. Bleeding time, it is the time for which bleeding continues after a wound is given. After the wound is given, or a person has a wound after any trauma or anything. So the time for which bleeding continues from that site is actually bleeding time. What is clotting time? It is the time taken by the blood to clot in response to any wound. Okay, कितने time में it will clot is clotting time. कितने time it will bleed is bleeding time. Okay, bleeding time is 2 to 8 minutes. Clotting time is 6 to 10 minutes. Okay. Now, bleeding time depends on two things. Depth of the wound. Obviously, if the wound is deeper enough, it will lead to profuse bleeding, more bleeding, and to the degree of hyperemia at the time of test. Okay. Now, where do we see this bleeding time? At the lobe of the ear or tip of the finger. These two sites are used. Okay. To check for clotting time, what is the method? We take blood in a clean test tube, clean glass test tube. Then we shake it to and fro. To and fro means like सीधा सीधा and then downwards. We rotate it wholly, okay, and then we get it upright again. So what will happen when we do this thing every 30 seconds for the next 5 to 10 minutes? We will see that clotting has occurred. So this is used to check the exact clotting time of that blood, right? What is the clotting time of that particular sample of blood? Okay.